Some animals can't be tamed, some hearts even less. In the heart of the Texas plains, a beast named Blaze tore through every rider brave or foolish enough to try. His eyes burned like fire, and his hooves carved fear into the dirt. Then came a boy, barefoot, hungry, invisible to the world, and with one quiet glance, everything began to change. This isn't just a story about a wild horse. It's about pride, pain, and a connection no one saw coming. If you've ever felt underestimated, this one's for you. The dust curled in the air like smoke as Blaze pounded the ground with relentless fury. His coat, a deep and unforgiving black, shimmered beneath the harsh afternoon sun. Inside the fenced corral, the horse spun in furious circles, eyes wide and wild, teeth bared, snorting through flared nostrils. No one dared get close, not anymore. They had tried, riders from 3 counties over, ex-rodeo champions, cowboy legends, one after the other, thrown like rag dolls into the dirt. The lucky ones limped away, the rest were carried. Blaze had scars across his flanks, each one a memory of a battle neither won nor lost. People whispered that he had once belonged to a rodeo, had seen cruelty too early, had been broken in all the wrong ways. Now he trusted no one and feared even less. Leaning against the rail of the corral stood Ethan Walker, a man carved by land and time. His boots were spotless, his shirt always pressed, his silence heavy. When he spoke, even the wind seemed to pause. $10,000, he announced, voice low but firm, to anyone who can stay on Blaze for more than 5 minutes. Gasps spread among the small crowd, not because of the money, but because they knew what came with it. The risk, the bruises, the humiliation. Ethan didn't blink. He knew no one would succeed. It wasn't about the money. It was about the pride. Blaze was his emblem, his legend. Untouchable, like the empire Ethan had built from scratch. Every failed attempt was another reason for the town to respect him and fear the animal he owned. A few murmured among themselves. One man chuckled nervously, another backed away. Blaze kicked the gate once more, hard enough to rattle the posts. "He's not a horse," someone whispered. "He's a storm with hooves." Ethan's eyes scanned the crowd, then settled back on the creature thrashing inside the pen. There was a flicker in his expression. Pride, yes, but also something deeper, something he'd never admit, loneliness. He had wealth, land, and silence, but the bond most ranchers spoke of between man and horse? He had never felt it, not with Blaze, not with anyone. That evening, the challenge was all anyone could talk about. It spread through the town like wildfire, passed from diner booths to gas stations, from truck cabs to church pews. No one could stop Blaze. And now, the richest man in the region was daring someone to try. As the sun dipped behind the hills, painting the sky in firelight, the corral grew quiet again. Blaze paced slowly now, nostrils flaring, eyes scanning the horizon. He didn't know it yet, but someone was coming, someone no one would expect. Jaden Miller moved through the city like a shadow, always there, rarely seen. He was small for his age, maybe 12, maybe 13. No one had ever really asked. He didn't remember the last time someone had said his name, with kindness. By day, he wiped windshields at traffic lights, offered gum and cold water to drivers who looked the other way. By night, he curled beneath the awning behind a laundromat, using his thin backpack as a pillow and the sound of passing cars as a lullaby. He didn't dream much anymore, but when he did, it was never about castles or superheroes. It was about food, a roof, a place where he didn't have to run. That morning, like so many before, he stood barefoot on the corner of 9th and Elm, holding a rag and a hopeful smile. His stomach growled loud enough to scare a pigeon off the curb. 2 men stood nearby, laughing over coffee and work boots, talking about something he only half heard, until a name snapped his attention. "Blaze," one said. "That horse is a demon. No one stays on him longer than 2 seconds. Now Ethan's offering 10 grand to whoever thinks they're tougher." The other scoffed. 10 grand. He could offer $1 million. That horse can't be ridden. I heard a guy broke 2 ribs just trying. Jaden froze. $10,000. He didn't care about the money. Not really. But there was something in that story that lit a spark in him. A challenge. A creature no one believed could be touched. He didn't know why it mattered. Maybe because he understood what it meant to be unapproachable. To be seen only as trouble. Maybe because he, too, had been pushed aside, called useless, just like that horse. That night he didn't sleep. He stared at the stars through a hole in the rusted roofing above him, clutching his worn-out hoodie close to his chest. His thoughts wouldn't settle. He didn't know where this blaze was, or how far. But he made a decision, one so big, so impossible, it scared him a little. He was going to find that horse, and he was going to try. Not for the money, but because something deep inside him whispered, "They're wrong about you too." The next morning, Jaden was up before the sun. The chill of dawn clung to his skin as he tightened the drawstring of his hoodie and set out. He didn't have a plan, only a direction. West, toward the edge of the city, where concrete gave way to dirt roads and open fields. He asked questions at a gas station, got ignored. Asked again. Finally, an old man filling his pickup pointed with a grunt. "Big ranch out past the ridge. Owner's name's Walker. If it's the horse you're after, that's where he is." Jaden nodded, thanked him, and kept moving. The walk was brutal. His shoes were barely holding together, and his water bottle was down to its last sip before noon. He followed the highway until it thinned into a winding gravel road, flanked by fence posts and dry brush. Every step hurt. His legs ached, his stomach groaned, but his eyes never lost that quiet fire. Midday turned to afternoon. The sun beat down hard, and with no shade in sight, Jaden's pace slowed. Still, he didn't stop. There were moments, many, when he considered turning back, when doubt crept in like a whisper. "You're just a kid. What are you even doing?" But something kept pulling him forward. Not the horse, exactly. Not even the prize. It was the chance to matter, to prove to someone, anyone, that he wasn't invisible. Just before dusk, he crested a hill and saw it. The ranch. Wide stretches of fenced land, a massive barn, and a sprawling white house that looked like it had never seen hardship. Men in cowboy hats moved with practiced rhythm, and far off in the distance, a black figure kicked up dust in a corral. Jaden's chest tightened. He was here. He approached the main gate, heart pounding. A tall man in uniform stepped forward, eyeing him with suspicion. "You lost, kid." Jaden shook his head. "I'm here for the horse." The guard blinked. "You're here for what?" "To ride him," Jaden said simply. The man laughed, deep and cruel. You? You must be joking." But Jaden didn't flinch. "I'm not leaving." And he didn't. Not that night, not the next. The next morning, before the ranch had fully stirred awake, Jaden was back at the gate. His hoodie was dust-streaked, his lips dry and cracked, but his eyes, those hadn't changed. They held the same steady fire. The same guard spotted him first. "You again," he muttered, stepping forward. "Didn't I tell you to get lost yesterday?" "I want to see Mr. Walker," Jaden said calmly. The man chuckled, crossing his arms. "That's not how things work here. Walker doesn't waste his time on street kids." Jaden said nothing. He just stood there. An hour passed, then 2. Still he stood, facing the gate like it might open if he stared long enough. By midday, a second ranch hand joined the first. "He's still here?" he asked, nodding toward Jaden. "Yep. Says he wants to ride Blaze." The new guy snorted. "That horse would tear him apart." Jaden heard it all, the laughter, the dismissals, but he didn't budge. That night he slept under a tree near the road, wrapping himself tight in his hoodie to fight off the chill. A distant coyote howled. He didn't sleep much. Morning came. Again he was at the gate. Same guard. Same disbelief. "Kid, you got a death wish or something?" Jaden didn't answer. He just waited. Day 3, then 4. By now, whispers had spread through the ranch. The boy who wouldn't leave. Some found it annoying, others were quietly impressed. An older worker named Mike left a crust of bread near the gate without saying a word. Jaden accepted it with a nod, chewing slowly like it was gold. By the fifth morning, the routine had become impossible to ignore. This time, when Jaden appeared at the gate, the guard didn't speak. He just sighed and reached for his radio. "Sir, we got someone you might want to see." Inside the main house, Ethan Walker put down his morning coffee. He wasn't a man easily intrigued, but there was something about persistence that always caught his eye. He stood, adjusted his hat, and walked out, toward the gate where a boy waited, dusty, barefoot, and unshaken. Ethan stopped a few feet away. "You're the one everyone's been whispering about," he said. Jaden met his eyes. "Yes, sir." Ethan looked him over, and for the first time, he didn't look away. Ethan stood in silence, arms crossed, studying the boy in front of him. Jaden didn't fidget, didn't flinch, just looked back, steady and calm. "You're here for Blaze," Ethan finally said, more a statement than a question. "Yes, sir." "You ride?" Jaden shook his head. "No, sir." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "You want to ride a horse no grown man can handle, but you've never ridden one before?" Jaden nodded once. "But I know how to approach him." That answer caught Ethan off guard. There was no arrogance in it, no wild bravado, just honesty. He looked over his shoulder toward the barn, then back to the boy. "You live around here?" Jaden hesitated. "No. I live wherever I can, mostly the streets." Ethan studied him for a moment longer. Most would have turned the boy away without another word. But something about Jaden's presence, his patience, his stillness, wasn't ordinary. And Blaze wasn't ordinary either. "Why do you want to do this?" Ethan asked. Jaden looked down at the dirt, then up again. "Because no one believes I can." That answer hit deeper than Ethan expected. He didn't reply right away. He turned toward the corral. "Fine," he said. "Tomorrow morning, first light. If you're still here, you'll get your shot." Jaden's eyes didn't widen. He didn't smile. He just nodded, like he already knew this was going to happen. Ethan tipped his hat slightly and walked away, boots crunching on gravel. Behind him, Jaden sat down under the same tree, pulled his knees to his chest, and stared up at the sky. That night, a folded blanket and a cup of warm soup appeared near the gate. No one claimed to have left it. Jaden didn't ask. He ate quietly, curled under the blanket, and slept deeper than he had in weeks. Tomorrow he would face Blaze. But tonight, for the first time in a long time, he felt like he belonged somewhere. The sun had barely cracked the horizon when Jaden stepped into the arena. Barefoot, hoodie zipped to the neck. He moved like the air around him was heavier than usual. The dirt was cool beneath his feet. Every sound, every breath, every shuffle of boots behind the fence echoed louder in the morning stillness. Ethan was already there, arms folded, eyes sharp. A few ranch hands leaned on the railings, some curious, others expecting disaster. Blaze hadn't been brought in yet. Ethan nodded toward the gate. "You sure you want to do this?" Jaden nodded. "Yes, sir." Ethan didn't ask anything else. He just gestured. "Bring him!" The gate creaked open, and Blaze stormed into the arena like a thundercloud on legs. His hooves kicked up sand with every step, head tossing, muscles twitching beneath his jet-black coat. He saw Jaden and froze, not in fear, in recognition. Jaden didn't move. He kept his arms loose at his sides, his posture still. His eyes never left Blaze's. The horse snorted, pawed the ground once, and began circling, wide arcs at first, testing. Jaden turned slowly, never breaking eye contact, always keeping himself in Blaze's line of sight, but never directly confronting. He wasn't a threat. He wasn't prey. He was something else. From the fence, a ranch hand whispered, "He's gonna get trampled." Ethan didn't answer. He was watching hard. Jaden took one step forward, then stopped. Blaze paused, ears twitching. Another step, still nothing. Jaden crouched slowly, picked up a handful of dirt, and let it slip through his fingers. The horse watched the motion, eyes wide but calm. Jaden stood again and took a deep breath. Then another step. This time, Blaze didn't flinch. He inched closer, the space between them shrinking by feet, then inches. Then Jaden raised a hand, palm open. Still, Blaze exhaled, deep and loud, his massive head lowered slightly. Not in surrender, but in acceptance. Jaden stepped forward and touched him, just once. Just a gentle stroke along his cheek, slow and sure. No ropes, no force, just trust. Gasps erupted from the fence. Ethan's jaw tensed. Jaden didn't stop there. He walked slowly to the horse's side, waited, then without a word, climbed up. No saddle, no stirrups. Barefoot and calm, Jaden sat atop Blaze like he belonged there. And Blaze stood still. Not a twitch, not a buck, not a sound. The wild beast, silent for the first time. For a long, breathless moment, time seemed to stop. Blaze didn't rear, didn't shake Jaden off. He just stood there, massive, powerful, and still as stone, beneath the weightless presence of a boy no one believed in. Jaden didn't move either. He just breathed with the animal, deep, even, like he was syncing his heartbeat with the beast beneath him. From the fence, no one spoke. Even the usual murmurs were gone. The ranch hands stared, slack-jawed. Cole, the guard who'd laughed at Jaden on day one, now gripped the rail, eyes wide. Mike, the quiet old hand, took off his hat slowly, whispered, "I don't believe it." Ethan didn't speak. He couldn't. He'd seen men thrown across this arena like rag dolls, seasoned cowboys with decades of rodeo behind them. Blaze had never allowed anyone this close, never let a soul touch him without violence, and yet now, the boy sat like he'd been born in that saddle, even though there was none. Jaden gently guided Blaze into a slow walk. One step, then another. Around the arena, dust rising beneath them like a golden mist. Blaze didn't resist. He followed, responding to nothing but Jaden's presence. It wasn't training. It wasn't domination. It was understanding. Jaden whispered something, barely audible. Words just for the horse. Blaze flicked an ear like he was listening. Then Jaden leaned forward, rested his forehead gently against the side of the animal's neck, and let the silence speak for him. From the house porch, Sandra, the ranch cook, had come out with her apron still on. She covered her mouth with both hands. Inside the arena, Jaden slid down slowly, landing softly in the dirt. He didn't raise his arms in triumph, didn't ask for applause. He walked toward Ethan, quiet, steady, humble. Blaze followed him. No rope, no lead, just followed. And Ethan, the man who never flinched, never doubted, felt something stir in his chest he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Respect, maybe even a little guilt. Jaden stopped in front of him. Blaze stood a few paces behind, calm, waiting. "I didn't do it to win," Jaden said softly. "I just wanted him to be seen." Ethan stared at the boy, the dirt on his face, the holes in his shoes, the fire in his eyes, and for the first time, he really saw him. Ethan stood there, silent, as if the earth beneath him had shifted. Around them, murmurs stirred, unspoken questions, disbelief turning slowly into awe. But Jaden didn't ask for anything. He simply waited. Ethan cleared his throat, his voice rougher than usual. "You did what no one else could. You won." Jaden nodded once. "Thank you, sir." Ethan reached into his coat and pulled out a folded check. $10,000, like I promised. But Jaden didn't take it. "I don't want the money," he said. Ethan frowned. "Then what do you want?" Jaden paused, looked over his shoulder at Blaze, who stood nearby, still and patient. Then back at Ethan. "I want a place to sleep, where no one kicks me out. 2 meals a day, and if it's not too much, I want to go to school." The words hung in the air. No begging, no desperation, just a simple request. A chance to be a boy again. Ethan's jaw tightened. He looked away for a moment, like the weight of Jaden's words needed space. Then slowly, he nodded. "You'll stay here, in the house." Jaden blinked. "You'll eat at my table, and starting tomorrow, I'll talk to the school in town. We'll get you in." For a second, Jaden didn't breathe. He just stared, like the moment hadn't sunk in yet. Then he whispered, Really? Ethan met his gaze. Really? Behind them, Blaze gave a soft exhale, almost like approval. Ethan placed a firm hand on Jaden's shoulder, not as a reward, not as a gesture of pity, but as a welcome. "You've got something rare," he said. "Most people try to control with fear. You lead with calm, with presence." Jaden said nothing, but his eyes shimmered just for a second, and for the first time since the beginning, Ethan smiled, not out of pride, out of respect. The next morning, the ranch felt different. Jaden woke up in a real bed, sheets clean, a roof above his head, and sunlight filtering through a window instead of cracked concrete. On the bedside table sat a folded shirt and jeans that actually fit him. Downstairs, the smell of fresh eggs and toast drifted through the air. Sandra greeted him with a warm smile and a plate already waiting. "Eat up, sweetheart. You've got a big day." Outside, Blaze stood calmly by the fence, waiting like he knew Jaden would come. And he did. No rope, no bridle, just a gentle pat on the neck, and the two walked together through the morning mist, side by side. In town, Ethan kept his word. He sat across from Mr. Harris, the school principal, and explained everything. "He doesn't have papers," Ethan admitted, "but he's got more determination than most grown men I know." By the end of the week, Jaden had a school backpack, a seat in a classroom, and something he never thought he'd have again, a future. Back at the ranch, Blaze had changed too. He no longer paced in circles or lashed out. With Jaden around, he was calm, centered, like whatever had broken inside him was slowly healing. They understood each other. Two souls the world had tried to silence, now walking the same path. Every evening, Jaden sat on the porch with Ethan. Sometimes they talked, sometimes they didn't, but there was peace in the silence. And every now and then, Ethan would glance over and smile, as if to say, "You belong here." Some said Blaze was wild by nature. Others blamed the past he never chose. But maybe he was just waiting for someone who saw more than fear in his eyes. Jaden didn't tame the horse with strength. He didn't use tricks or ropes or force. He led with quiet, with patience, with something the world had tried to beat out of him but never could, hope. And in return, Blaze gave him trust. The kind of trust that can't be bought or forced, only earned. Ethan, once a man ruled by pride and silence, now saw his world differently, because one boy, just a boy, walked in and reminded him that courage isn't loud. Sometimes it sleeps under bridges and walks barefoot through dust. Sometimes it wears scars we don't see, and sometimes it rides the wildest horse in the county with nothing but open hands and a steady heart. If this story moved something in you, maybe it's because deep down we all know what it's like to be doubted, to be overlooked, to wait for someone to believe in us. Jaden got his chance, and he gave Blaze his. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment telling me what part of this story hit you hardest. And tell me, have you ever felt like the world misunderstood you? And if you believe that everyone, no matter where they come from, deserves a second chance, share this story. Because maybe someone out there needs to know that even the wildest hearts just want to be seen.